Hello there, commanders and hopefully developers, and welcome to another episode of CA Please Fix, an irregular series where I'll point out usually a singular issue I have with Arena and I would like it to be fixed. Now, it has been quite a while since the last CA Please Fix episode, but that doesn't mean that Arena doesn't have any issues to fix, obviously. I'm mostly posting this video that has bothered me for quite a while. But now I have a perfect opportunity to do so, as I will be releasing a discussion video tomorrow. I'm writing the script for it because it's quite an important video, so I don't want to miss anything because I just forget it in the moment. So anyway, let's get to the issue at hand. It is about the targeting system of ranged and melee units, about how they behave when you right-click an enemy unit. And here we have a perfect example of both a melee unit and a ranged unit targeting the very same unit and their different behaviors and how I'd like rather them to be switched around. So let's roll the tape. This comes from the second battle of the semi-finals of the War Games in the tournament between SUNTZU and War Games Institute team. So now both me and the dogs that are released are targeting the spike unit here in front. I shoot a first volley. It spreads out equally across the unit, as it should. The dogs charge in, they charge in the middle, they have now reformation, all good. I shoot another volley. And because the dogs have dealt damage to the soldiers in the middle, these soldiers in the middle die, while the guys on the left and the right don't. Also, like, there was a bigger concentration of javelins being thrown at the center than at the edges, as you could see as well. Right, and that causes that pike unit to split in two. Like, all the guys in the middle are dead, and now half of the remaining unit is over here, and the other half is over here. But I guess this half is slightly bigger, making it not really a half, but whatever. And therefore the center of the unit that is signified by the unit ID switches over here, and this portion of the unit is treated as outside of the main body of the unit, right? Because if both of those halves were treated as still the main body of the unit, then the unit ID would still be in the center, despite the guys in the center being dead. So now let's see what happens. See? This portion is targeted. The arrow that indicates the target is also over here. While the dogs, so okay, bam. And my javelin units shoot only this portion of the unit. They totally ignore these guys. While the melee unit does the opposite. They don't care. They attack the entire unit. They don't care where the main body of the unit is and where is the one soldier stacked 300 meters behind the main body of the unit on some kind of a tree or in a melee engagement. Let's say that this pike unit has made it all the way through here, through the center, as you could see the other two pike units over there. And one of the soldiers got stuck somewhere in an engagement, right? Because sometimes he just cannot pull through the other soldiers or something and he just gets stuck in there, right? If that was the case, it isn't in this case, but if it was, then some of the dogs would run all the way there to get that one guy, which is an issue, right? It is also the issue because the range units don't target all the soldiers that are within the range. Obviously, if the guy is somewhere 300 meters away, don't target him or don't run to get him, right? Because he's in near range, obviously. But that's quite the opposite of what we would want. Or at least I think should be the case. Because we also often have situations where there are some spaghetti lines, especially with barbarian units that don't have any unit coherency at all as part of their mechanic. And you may even have situations where the spaghetti line is so long and ridiculous that a unit is approaching you. Let's say a cavalry unit is approaching your ranged units, right? So you'd like to do something about it, possibly shoot them, right? Because you know you can deal a lot of damage, especially if you're javelins. You could deal a lot of damage and maybe dissuade them or stop their charge. But you can't, because the center of the main body of the unit that's approaching you is outside your range, even though some of the soldiers of that unit are already attacking you. That also happens if, as I said earlier, given that example, if a unit pushes through. So let's say this unit of swords over here started to push through our swords to get to me. Right? So let's say over half of the unit, let's say it has 100 soldiers, right? So 60 soldiers get stopped and stuck on our sword unit, but 40 manage to get around them and start pushing through to me. As long as this guy keeps right-clicking on my unit, those 40 soldiers will keep approaching me and try to attack me, while the 60 soldiers will still be stuck over here. So the center of the main body of the unit will be stuck over here, while 40 guys of this unit will keep trying to attack me. It's like, oh, okay, 40 soldiers are approaching me. I could shoot them and lead them with 2 volleys of my javelins, right? But I cannot right-click them, because if I right-click them, my unit will try to attack the main body of the unit rather than shoot whatever portion of that unit is within my range. And then those 40 guys can just attack me in melee without me ever being able to shoot them, because the main body of the unit isn't in range. And don't think I'm talking about some kind of ridiculous examples that happen once in 100 battles. No. Those examples happen very, very often. Just look through my battles and you will be able to find them. But obviously, developers won't do that because, oh, they're precious time, right? I also don't have that much time to look through all my battles and find every single example and point it out one by one by one by one. But I'm pointing out one of the examples, one that shows the issue very, very clearly, and I'm giving you a verbal description of how other examples that work on the same principle work, right? So now let's finish rolling the tape. I shoot the portion of the unit here on the right. As most of them die, if not all of them, yeah, I think it's all of them die, the unit switches then to the left, right, and then I shoot the guys on the left, and then they die. This issue also makes killing off units harder, because let's say there is a melee engagement like this one, and this unit decides to disengage, the enemy unit decides to disengage from here. But they get kind of stuck in our hoplite phalanx, so also let's say they have 10 soldiers left. They're wavering, right? They run away, the flank wasn't applied, so they didn't shatter, or maybe the flank was applied but then it was dropped, because morale system is also definitely something that needs to be fixed, or the flank detection, etc, etc. More on that in the video tomorrow. I will leave the link to it in the top right corner as well, once it's out obviously. And now, let's say those 10 soldiers have split up, right? Because they got stuck in the phalanx and they are not running away as one coherent row of 10 guys, but they're just like 2 guys here, 3 guys here, 5 guys there. Right? And then, even though all of these 10 guys are within the range of my ranged units, and I order my ranges to shoot them, they'll first shoot the group of 5 people, then they will shoot the group of 3 people, and then they will shoot the group of 2 people, overkilling every single time. Which means that these 10 guys that I could kill in 1 volley, they will be killed in 3 volleys. I need 3 volleys to kill and finish off a unit. And sometimes I don't have time to shoot 3 volleys. Maybe I would like to shoot this target, which is, you know, a big blob. Much more valid target, much more damage I could deal there, right? Or maybe there's a enemy unit in front of me and I just cannot pursue, because otherwise I would just run into the enemy melee units and I couldn't shoot anyway, right? So those are the problems. There are many more. Sometimes even if an enemy unit is running in a straight line, and it only happens really with small units, like below 10 soldiers as well. The unit is just literally running in a straight line. You have a ranged unit, you right click on the enemy and all of your arrows or javelins or whatever else you're shooting miss. Even though the guy isn't issuing any orders, he isn't running around the corner, therefore technically constantly changing the vector of his direction. Literally just open field, straight line, no evasive maneuvers from the enemy. Just right click forward and left the unit. Then you right click his unit and the entire volley of 100-something arrows misses. Right? So that's the issue with your targeting system. Sometimes the AI that is responsible for predicting where the enemy soldiers will be will miss. Will just miscalculate that and just miss, right? So I think a soft fix to that issue, if you don't want to scramble the code or whatever and, you know, look through and try to fix a minor issue like that. Well, not really a minor, because that also happens very, very often. Well, that would kind of tie in to ranged unit rework. But I would just like to decrease the accuracy of ranged units to, you know, even if your AI miscalculates where the unit will be and misses all the shots, if they're less accurate, they're dispersed over a larger area, and they may hit anyway. But well, that's about it. All I can complain about ranged units and melee units targeting system and connected issues in a single video. It is probably too long for many of you anyway already. So yeah, I'll finish it here. And hopefully, well, if the developers themselves don't watch this video, you can always just bring it up to them directly through, I don't know, Reddit, YouTube comments, Discord or whatever, but I know that developers are very hard to reach. You could try reaching the Chinese community managers, tell them about the issue, and ask them to relay that information to the developers. That is technically the official route available to anybody, really, right? Or just the Chinese forums. I'm pretty sure you could write a post in English in there and it will be completely fine, right? And then the community managers will also relay that to the game developers. So maybe the game developers check those forums themselves. Well, I don't know, Google translates them or something, I don't know, probably not. But what do I know, right? They most likely just have the community managers or other Chinese staff from NetEase to translate that stuff to them, or not even directly, just like conglomerate. Is that the correct word? I don't know. But just get that feedback together and give like, this many people are pointing out this issue, a little bit fewer people pointing out a different issue, right? So this issue, since this is complained about so much, is a high priority. This issue, not that many people complaining about it, so lower priority. But whatever, yeah, I've rambled for way too long, so hopefully CA will fix this. I don't think it should be that hard, but then again, I don't really know. If you would like to have an easier way of bringing the feedback to developers, a more direct one, then consider helping us bringing Total War Arena back to the West. You already know what to do to achieve that. And until then, I'll see you on Arena's Battlefields Commanders. And hopefully developers too. You should play your game a little bit to, you know, see firsthand what problems your game has.